Probably the same question. We went to see the family.
Did you? That's great. I love you.
This is for insurance.
I met your daughter the other day.
Yes.
Yeah, she came in to get some new hire paperwork for working at the concession stand. She's sweet. She was really sweet. Very polite, very sweet. Hey, Kevin, Pat Moore, can you bump that down a little bit, the air, please? With all these people getting in here, it's starting to get warm. Thank you. Oh, I didn't print it, no.
It's 14, isn't it?
I didn't print it. We can do it next time.
Yeah. The other morning when I called you, did you see a missed call? I was listening to Jasper radio station. You know that Rich Stroll law? Did you hear that? People lost it. Yeah. That's
Oh,
why
yeah.
I
Did you
had
hear
just
that?
listened to that.
Which one?
You work at Red Straw, and no, it was,
I knew the name when I called you that day. I
shoot,
had,
what was
you know, that trial there was
he left and went to the Davis County Prosecutor's Office. You have to Google it.
I had just heard. I was like, oh shit, I gotta call Kevin and tell him to go to the
Yes, it was still under investigation when he left the law office to go there. Oh, it's a story. You should read it. And then let me know when you read it, because it's interesting.
I heard it. I was listening to the radio. I was like, calling Kevin. I was like, stop that.
That's a good deal.
But he lost his bar or lost his license. You know. They say he'd been warned several times about misconduct or something.
I don't know.
The radio had a whole spiel. It was on WBDC, but the radio on the news. I mean, they had a whole spiel.
Yeah,
What all he done? I was like, I'd kind of call Kevin.
I was going to say that, you expect your dad to do that. People say, like,
What? It's working.
yeah. What can you do? It's the truth. Yeah, that's right. Genetics take it. Yep.
It's being broadcast. The only thing you get is a you have to use your personal information, but you get to go to the software and all that.
Okay. I'll come talk to you.
Okay.
We're watching our cell phones. It's not quite there yet. He wants to know.
Stand to do the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to welcome everyone to the regular monthly meeting of the Town Council. Roll call: Jason Little.
Here.
Tricia Ball.
Here.
Kevin Burke.
Here.
Seth Wendell.
Here.
Brian Warren.
Here. The first thing we have on the agenda tonight is approval of the minutes from August 14th, 2023.
Make a motion to approve the regular town board meeting minutes for August 14th of 23.
Second.
Okay, I have a first and second. Is there any other discussion on that? If not, we call for everybody to approve it, say A, yay, and all those disapprove, no.
Okay.
I abstain since I was not here.
Okay, let it be known, it passes 4-0, one abstention. Some comments from the floor, we're going to change that a little bit. We're going to have Bob Dooley go first.
Thank you. We're here tonight on behalf of the Spencer County Ambulance Service. It was a early November night when there was an accident south of Santa Claus. And it was a pretty horrific car accident. And one of your officers, Bo, was off duty and was on his way, I believe, to something at the high school, and turned around and responded to this call. And the lady that was the driver of the one vehicle was severely injured and could have easily bled to death right there before extrication could have taken place, but Bo applied a tourniquet on her leg to pretty much stop the bleeding. And first responders and EMS people got there. But on behalf of the ambulance service, we want to present this to Bo for his heroic actions on November the 25th. And the lady was transported to the hospital, was there, and then transported to another hospital, and dismissed from that hospital, went home, and complications set in, and sadly to say she did pass away. But because of his actions, it was given her more time. And also, to me, it should be presented to the entire police department because they're all trained for things of this nature. And we as a community ought to be thankful for their training and for them willing to step in, and because they can get there most of the time quicker than fire department or EMS, so it's a vital tool. And so on behalf of the ambulance service, Mo, we want to thank you, and for the whole department.
Thank you. The next thing we have on the agenda is American Christmas Hometown Liability Insurance.
Ryan. Okay, one of the hats that I wear with the police department is special event coordinator. So I'm on the America's Christmas Hometown Board. It's one of our situations. So historically, the town has covered the America's Christmas Hometown events in December. So the board is requesting that I come before you and ask for you guys to cover our liability for the parade and the other 2 weekends events we have in December.
Motion for that?
Yeah, I think we need a motion.
Make a motion
We have
to
done that
approve.
in the past, so.
Make a motion to approve the insurance, liability insurance during December for the American Christmas Hometown.
As long as it doesn't cost, usually they pay if there's an addition. If there's an additional.
Okay, I guess if there's an additional cost that community pays for it.
Okay, I second it.
Have a first and second. Any other discussion on that? If not, all those approved say aye.
Aye.
Any abstentions? Okay, if not, shows that approved, 5-0.
All right, thank you.
And then we have Brad Scales with mountain bikes.
Appreciate y'all having me tonight. Brad Scales, representing Trailhead Southwest Indiana and Grassroot Inc. Trailhead Southwest Indiana is a nonprofit organization. We've been running after-school bike clubs for 14 years now in Southwest Indiana. and have expanded into North Central County a couple of years ago. We've been running the Heritage Hills Bike Club for a couple of years, having some decent success. We noticed that just after-school rides have not quite been enough to keep the kids happy, so our numbers have dwindled. Just being able to ride over to Lincoln State Park, ride through the roads and things. We've noticed in our other clubs that off-road trails and bike park type infrastructure with jumps and things like that have been really popular. And so our model is complementary. It's after-school bike clubs and the infrastructure with the trails and the bike parks like we've done at Scales Lake, Linville Park, and some places like that. We're now in 5 local counties, and we're just reaching out to offer a hand to identify any spaces for potential development for natural surface trails, bike parks, and things like that. And definitely open to any questions or anything you all wanted to ask.
I think what we were thinking about was possibly down there in the industrial park, the wooded area.
Do you know where that is located? It's back behind Kimball and, yeah, that's, and then how does that, okay, so my questions are all about forming, taking care of, like litter, because it just happens. So all of the things about maintaining and creating, and, I have nephews who mountain bike, and I know the things that come with it, so.
Yeah. Great concerns. We have the maintenance aspect of our clubs, and so a lot of our weekend volunteer maintenance events are focused on that, and to do erosion control, vegetation control on the infrastructure, in addition to having trash cans in place and working. It depends on the situation. Like the town of Chandler offered to empty them out, and we're more than happy for our volunteers to do that too. It's however the setup works. But yeah, that's definitely part of what we do, and having the kids and the volunteers have some ownership of the park or the space that we would use.
Okay. Where did Chandler put theirs?
It's behind the community center building in
Yeah.
the sports park by the ball fields.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's a great space.
How much space do you need?
We can work with anything down to just an acre. We at University of Southern Indiana developed an acre of flow trails, where they're downhill directional trails, 3 side-by-side trails with a return trail that come up behind them, and it's right there on campus. And so from an acre all the way up to pretty much endless. And so long distance trail systems, you're looking into needing a space of probably 50 acres plus to get some mileage, where you're wanting some cross-country type stuff. If you're wanting to just do some concentrated bike park type stuff with jumps and challenge courses and things, the acre and up is a good type of space.
And then I'm completely ignorant, so I'm gonna ask you all my ignorant questions. Who determines, where the dips and runs are? Do you go to this property? Does your organization say, okay, this would be the best place to put this path, this trail, or is it just something made after running through it a few times?
It's definitely a very long process that requires our help and assistance, more so for the advocacy part of it. And then I do lend a hand with the design work and have a professional business that offers that as well. And so, yeah, there's the design work and the layout,
That's right.
but also if it depends on the setup and the project. If it's somewhere where we're looking to write grants and things like that, it can be kind of a blank canvas where it's more of a field type design and build, and we can just focus on the space and offer some kind of conceptual ideas. But yeah, there's definitely, we are heavily involved in it as much as you all would want us to be.
But because, like I said, I don't know, do any of us know about, do any of you?
Yeah.
Do you?
I do.
Not recently.
Yeah. You. So it's
How much,
good.
Zach, how much acreage is there that's wooded at Yellow?
Maybe like 3 or 4 acres, it's not a lot, north of the road that we are now.
But it doesn't have a lot of
Goes
dips
out
and
there
turns
between
though.
the Trails.
I wouldn't put it down there, it's pretty much.
It doesn't have a lot of,
There is a little bit up and down, there's a few swales and ditches down through there.
Mountain biking has fast tracks too, where it's all level.
yeah, I know.
Like Pigeon Creek used to have a really nice one.
Out north of Hebron, I know it's Holiday World, or Cook
Yeah, if we
Development,
could get
but
those stripper pit areas, like back there.
I I'm just thinking of something that had more topograph that would
Yeah.
be fun to ride on.
They're probably never even developed that.
Maybe it would be something that if you wanted to come down and take a look at that space, be happy to take a tour. Maybe wait a few more weeks for the dicks and everything to die down.
Get a good
Sounds
front.
like a great idea.
Yeah.
How many acres
And
is
then
back
also
there behind
check out there.
Kimball?
Yeah, so how many acres are behind Kimball?
About 50, I think.
50 acres back behind Kimball.
Okay, got it.
John's got something.
Yeah,
I've lived on those trails back by the rec center back in the day, so there is somewhat existing trails already around the lake by the Holiday Village Rec Center, and it would be a perfect place, but you'd have to, go through Holiday World. But yeah, that'd be an awesome place for it.
yeah,
And it'd be
And
ideally
it's
better
not
closer to
something
the
might be
school,
developed.
but
yeah,
If we need all this stuff.
yeah,
I'm just looking at where would I wanna ride at, you know?
right.
on
The industrial
this
park's
flat place
closer to the
or on a-
school, but
And the trail
Holiday Village
system.
is right here, you know, and,
We hate to do industrial park and a project comes in, your trails are gone.
I know.
Space.
I know,
So you want somewhere that you wouldn't be as worried about
Yeah.
developing.
Yeah, we're happy to look at, any spaces that have potential and, see what we can work together to come up with.
You can tie that into the whole trail system right
Oh,
up
yeah.
there, right up top there.
cool.
Just
Typically,
take
what's
trails
it cost you all to develop, let's say a 5 acre piece?
For bike park infrastructure, it varies based on what type of build we're doing. And so, to give you an example of, say, a pump track, which is like it almost would look like an RC car racetrack, small concentrated space, we build those anywhere from 2,500 square feet up to, we have a 20,000 square foot one in Jasper. And so those, for example, are roughly $4 a square foot. And so those are very heavily intense, high-density features in a concentrated space. Now trails, if we're looking to develop a 50-acre zone, density-wise, we're looking at about a mile to 12 acres, and so say 4 miles. We'd be looking at, depending on the landscape, corridor clearing. A lot of times the club will work together with us and do, depending on our capacity, some corridor clearing, which is roughly about $1 a foot. And then the build, for a very light duty build, about $3 a foot. We're talking about having to dig and with the hillside and having to dig a bench into it. If we're looking at just mowing down a path, it's significantly cheaper. But yeah, your typical build where we're looking at good sustainable terrain where we won't have a lot of erosion because we need that side slope for the water to run off and not run down our trail. And so anywhere from say $3 a foot. If it gets more intense with the side slope, like soil banks and things, you're getting up into $8 a foot and things like that.
And what's the kind of yearly maintenance on like a 4 mile system?
Cost wise or
Well, I mean, if you're gonna have to go in there and fill and maintain it.
So the goal, yeah, is to have it to where it does shed the water and we don't have any issues. But yeah, there's always some, seeps and things like that we do run into. And so cost wise, that's where the club would come into play and do annual fundraisers where the money stays local and those funds will go towards any tools and equipment and things like that. And that's assuming we don't develop a lot of infrastructure beyond that capacity to where it's pretty, really focused on tourism and things like that. Something just for the space for the club to go and things like that. Yeah, I would say totally on the club and, a half dozen work days for a year where, we would plan to get, half dozen to a dozen people out working a couple hours on a weekend.
And then upfront costs, you would, like the town would pay that, or do you guys have funds for that, or where does that come from?
We've always done our own fundraising. We've recently got into some pretty big grants in Ward County Commissioners. We got a $100,000 grant from them last year, and that's our biggest one so far. And so Centerpoint Foundation, they've been our next biggest funder at $25,000 for the USI project. And so we do a lot of our own. Always, it's the hardest thing that we do is fundraising. And so, we're always willing or open to any support that we can get.
Maybe they'll get some from the community foundation,
Right,
Spencer County.
yeah, Spencer County Community. Or Toyota might have, they have good grants. Good,
Yeah, it's actually Toyota for good.
yeah. Excellent.
Anybody else have any comments?
I think that'd be cool.
Yeah,
More
love to look
maintenance
around.
than concrete.
Zach is our big old Parks and Rec director, and so maybe he can show you some places and.
John's your trail expert though, so you're,
Yeah.
you're around the lake. I'll
Yeah.
invite John, take him around.
So, but how well, do you know the borders of the industrial park area?
To be
Okay.
honest with you, I don't.
So-
Basically, I would be looking at the GIS map. I don't know if Kevin could
Yeah.
point me in the right
Make
direction.
Kevin point you in the right
My
direction.
fear of building it there is, as soon as they break ground on it and get it going, somebody will come in and wanna buy a piece of it, and, you know,
Yeah.
and they get in and out.
Best bet is around in Holly Village and.
I will say though, I
That
mean,
would tie right into
Kevin,
the trail system.
The likelihood of it happening is probably
Kevin
pretty
and I have had
slim.
discussions in the terrain and the amount of clearing and fill.
Exactly.
and
Yeah,
stuff
nobody's
like that.
I think we're pretty safe.
Yeah.
Astronomical.
Yeah, the industrial park area, there's gonna be some places nobody's gonna
Yeah,
develop.
I mean,
Right.
cutting and filling and clearing alone would be astronomical, much less
Yeah.
extending utilities and anything like that.
So, and that area is closer to the
To
school.
Yeah, it's good for
Yeah,
accessibility.
but there's some areas in there that are never, I mean, if they are, it'd be like, right, somebody,
Just look at all
houses
this
along
where
the
it makes
edges.
sense.
So, yeah,
I think the industrial park would probably be the best spot.
yeah,
Well, and
Location.
if I could add, I mean, for us, we do have some hopes of long-term development a little further on the north side of the road. So
yes,
it might be a little tricky to come in there and build and, hey, can you move that for us?
yeah,
Until we get a better picture of what that looks like from a timeline and a scale, it'd be very, I'd be a little apprehensive at least, I would put it that way.
And it can be congested enough down there as it is.
Yes.
When we start water towers rest, and then we can get in there through the.
Well, you
village.
do have a 12-inch water main that runs up to that parcel you got to comment to, so you can comment to that.
Yeah.
When the water towers follows the lot line north, and that's what we can, but the terrain back there would be pretty good.
oh, yeah, it would be real cool.
Not for me per se, I like to flatten it
Just give those
out. Downhill all the way.
Just give it by Russell Hill for you.
You've got a lot of respect, got a lot of respect.
I ride my bike, I enjoy it.
Yeah,
They're black.
so, yeah, get with Zach and next to you, and Zach will get
Or Kevin.
with Kevin, yeah,
Okay,
Thank you,
I'll plan on that. I really appreciate it, y'all.
thank you.
Have a great night.
Thanks so much for coming. Appreciate it.
And the next item, we have comments from myself, and at this time, I have nothing to add.
Nope, you missed one.
You got one, this one.
No.
Or you just-
So,
Oh,
or
he's-
if you can.
He's
Okay.
canceled at the last minute.
Okay.
He's not feeling well.
Okay.
So at this time, I have nothing to add. Anybody have any questions for me or anything? Okay. Now, we're gonna move on to the fire department, Max.
You've got my monthly report for the month of August. We had 15 first responder runs, 3 fire alarms, 1 gas leak. We had a runaway child, 1 CO alarm, for a total of 22 runs per month. On Thursday, August 31st, both the engines and the tanker had their yearly service. There was no major issues, just minor repairs, light bulbs, little stuff like that. Fire Prevention Week is the week of the 8th, October 8th to the 14th. The theme this year is cooking safety starts with you. So we'll be down at the school probably Monday or Tuesday, most of the day with the kids again, so. October 28th from 7 a.m. to noon is, the medicine cabinet clean out at the fire station again, so. And November the 13th at 12:30 p.m. is the ISO audit. They'll be coming in from Evansville and audit. So I gave Russ his paperwork. Kevin and Trish have stuff to sign, so I got that out to them, so. You guys got anything else?
Doing the fall chicken dinners?
No. We done really well with the banners.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Do we want now to talk about that?
If you want to,
See
Murray's here
whereabouts?
and Jane, they can demonstrate it.
Yeah.
Trish and Jane were at Public Safety Day at the park, and the ambulance service had the Stryker,
Mhm.
the Lucas machine there, and they really liked that.
Mhm.
So they wanted to know if they could come over and show that to you guys tonight. So I did bring it up at budget. Remember, I should give you a brochure of the cost. So Murray, if you want to show that. It's a machine that'll actually do chest compressions. It'll free a guy up. You know, during the day, we're short of manpower. Police help us out a lot. But this frees a guy up. Gets good quality compressions. They're constant. We wear out after a few minutes. You can see it's a lot of work.
exhausting, yeah, it's an exhausting job.
So, the ambulance service, tried to get grant, funds through the ARP to outfit all the fire departments in the county with the Lucas device. Didn't have enough money for it, but they would have enough money to do the 4 ambulances for the county. So that's what they've done, you know. Anyhow, takes about 1 to 2 minutes to set up if you've got enough people. Basically, set it, go up, place it under the person's chest area. Pull this out. Got 2 little tabs there. Lock it into place. Turn it on. Hit number 1. Pull your pad down. Hit number 2. All the labels will tell you what to do. It's take and measuring what it needs. Then you can do either 30 to 2 compressions or continuous compressions. And this battery will run probably about 30 minutes. We do keep an extra battery on the truck. And if the batteries go down, we have to, we do have a plug-in where we can actually plug it in and run it off the 12-volt switch of the truck. If you notice, it'll do the 30 compressions, it'll make a beep to let you know that you're ready to do your breathing compression. Now, in the past, I'm going to do the 30. In the past, we used to take 2 or 3 firefighters in the back of the truck, try to switch around all the time, and move them around, a lot of injuries, 2 or 3 minutes of doing compressions, and you wore out, so you can't get adequate compressions like you need. This doesn't work. Then if you need to stop at the pause, you can hit a pause button. You can check the pulse. You can defibrillate if you have to. Then you can start it back up.
Will that work on a minor?
You can use it up to like age 12 to 13. It all depends on their size, really. You know, if it's a big child, you know, it's going to work on it. Small one, it's probably not going to be. Any questions?
It's 6th grade up.
And it'll fit a pretty good sized person. It'll fit him. Like, you know, the gentleman in the gray back there. You know. I mean, it's designed to fit a bigger person.
And it doesn't do any more damage than the compressions would do anyway.
Probably less.
Yeah.
Probably going to be less because, you know, when we're doing it manually,
I know.
you know, sometimes we push down too hard, we're going to crack ribs and stuff. I mean, I'm not saying that it won't crack ribs,
Right.
but it's going to be better than us trying to do it manually.
Well, and the consistency of it, when we get on scene, the adrenaline's flowing, and we're ready to do chest compressions,
Yeah.
we can do it, and then about 6, 8, 10 minutes into the scene, you're wore out.
Wore out.
Chest
Switch.
compressions are
Yes.
less effective,
Yes, it's exhausting.
and sometimes, you know, before you get doctor's orders, or it could be 30 minutes or more, so you got 2 or 3 guys doing
Yeah.
compressions for a half hour.
All right.
I can tell you from experience on a 16-year-old kid that I arrived first on scene, I was working out, ran here to the apartments, and
We were there for 45 minutes.
I got so far, when I say this kid was 16, I thought he was 30.
He was a big one.
285 pounds, and I tell you what, before they got there with that machine, I was wore out. I mean, completely, you remember.
Yeah, by the time we got doctor's orders, the call, it was, what, over 45
No, it
minutes?
was 45 minutes. That machine, I don't know how much it costs, but it is a.
It is designed as a backpack where if you have to go into a long distance, you can carry it with you. Any other questions?
What are we talking about? Remember, you told us once, but can you?
Well, it was 18 on the quote that I gave you.
Yeah.
So, I didn't know if there was any extra in any of the funds, rainy day, or surplus we're gonna have in the budget, that we can try and get one of those ordered in. I know we'll probably have to go out for quotes, since it's over.
Yeah. What is the,
How many people make it?
yeah,
There's only one provider, how long do you have to do quotes to?
You can get the, which that's where we made a mistake, we went cheap, and 5 or 6 years down the road, they went out of business back.
There's some knockoff brands.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, we don't wanna do that.
Yeah, there's some
This is a
knockoff
company
brands.
that will be around for a long time, so that's what happened to us, is we went with the cheaper one, and then it come back and got us.
Is it ordered directly through Stryker?
Yes, it
Or
is.
through Lucas or?
There's a salesman that covers this area.
So do we make an exception to that rule for something like that when we don't wanna go off?
How can you do a bid for a one?
Or we could do bids, but say, nah, just put straight.
The cheaper one's the exact same specifications?
No,
Meet our specifications?
Yeah.
Your bid and meet specs.
Specifications, so they fit that one.
and this one
Those
here,
ones you do have to quote.
once if the fire department gets it, once they have it on before we arrive, theirs will stay on that patient and they'll take ours. So I'd like to get something that is
Oh,
alike,
so
so
it'll
where
be
we're not
continuous.
giving them something that they don't know how to use.
That
So if we
makes
stay with the same thing, we'll take theirs into the hospital
Mhm.
and they can take ours and use ours. That way, we don't have to take the patient in and out of the machine. We can just
Yes,
constantly stay
that
on.
makes sense.
Yes.
Same token, you know, like with the, automatic defibrillators and stuff, you know, we're using the Zoll. That way, everything's interchangeable. All we have to do is unplug theirs, plug it into ours, and we're good to go. Where we've got 2 or 3 other devices out there that aren't compatible, we have to pull everything off and put all our stuff on. It just takes time.
Yeah. Well, Seth, you find a place?
Let's see what funds can pay.
What funds can pay for that? Can rainy day?
Yeah.
It's a general fund, it'd be nice to
Yeah.
use it from another fund. Nicely the general fund.
What about that?
You've got fire.
Yeah.
Where the trucks coming from.
We've got the
What about,
truck set for that.
the, opioid? I mean, how much money is that? I know it's not that much.
It's not much.
That much money,
Mm-mm.
but,
And that has very,
I have to look at the restricted
yeah,
portion, when
the
there's
restricted
Yes, I
portion
know
is
there
very
is.
very
specific.
limited on what you
Yeah.
can use restricted.
but wouldn't that be like the most logical thing in the universe?
Can you use CCI?
Yeah, it's more for like education
I
and
know
stuff
it
though,
is.
it's
Because you
very
need that for body
restricted.
armor and stuff.
But I would recommend that we table this and bring it up at the meeting
Mhm.
next month.
Yep.
Where you further
Definitely.
Yep.
keep
look
it
at
on.
where we.
Find where we can get the funds,
Sure.
and then maybe you start writing up some kind of spec that,
I've got all the paperwork brochures from
okay,
Sylvan.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the state requirement is anything under 50,000.
I was gonna say, you all can actually do it yourselves.
You just have
The
to.
quoting requirements are your imposition.
oh,
So you all can actually say.
so we could
Yeah, you're not required by state
make an
law.
exception,
Yeah, you're not required by law to quote this or a bid.
okay?
It's your own restrictions that make
Right.
the department
That's
heads
good.
quote or bid it.
So now all we gotta do is
The
figure
board
out where
can
the
just
money's
do
coming.
You do whatever.
The
you want.
ordinance.
Yeah, find out where the money's coming from and,
The bid packets are going out this week for the compressor and the fill station. We'll have bid opening on October 9th, the next town board meeting. I got 4 companies I'm sending that to, so, we'll have that. And Bob did talk to Kevin Burke, and we talked about this before, about surplus property. We got some items that are surplus, we wanna get rid of. What's the process? We got to offer to another department first, right?
The other volunteer fire department.
And then what's the next step? None one.
Depends if it's worthless or is it,
Some stuff's worth.
then you have to advertise it for sale. I mean, we do that every couple of years with the town.
Are you all thinking about having a surplus auction,
We could use one
yes,
again.
yes,
We could use
What
one.
an echo thing.
okay.
Okay, so yes,
Yeah, yard sale next week.
we've got a few things we wanna get rid of, so. we
Okay.
can do-
So yeah, it sounds like the surplus auctions
Okay,
in the books.
that's all I got.
We're only living in a bad time to have.
I know, during the yard sale would be a book.
Zach?
Okay, good evening, everyone. I believe you have my report. We'll start with the community center. Again, activity is pretty well flat, slight decline, but that's to be expected with some of the kids going back to school. Really just trying to stay on top of ongoing things. Fall sports are again in full swing. We're a little bit behind on the trails, but hoping to catch up with that in the next day or two. and just a bunch of projects, still trying to work on getting the basketball court resurfaced, at least before next spring. Got a few more security cameras installed at the park, foyer window, still working on that. And then we've been having some ground fault issues with our alarm notification system at the community center, so hoping to get that resolved. On a positive note, the gym membership system, we do have a training scheduled for Wednesday, so hoping to get that rolling. We were able to resolve some of the billing issues with Jane's department. I think everything's gonna flow very nicely. We're not gonna do any ACH, it'll all be credit card, and basically we will build the credit card fees into our membership pricing. So, it should be a very welcome change, just being able to have everybody's information in an online database that is easily accessible and easily updated instead of spreadsheets. So, as far as items for you all, I believe we discussed it last month's meeting, the bank credit card limit. I didn't know if Kevin had drafted an ordinance, I didn't see it on the agenda, so.
It's not on the agenda, but we have it.
Yep.
Okay. The only other item is the small room rental rate. We really appreciate you guys being receptive to changing that. I would like to delay that until we officially come up with pricing for our gym memberships. That way, it's all in the same ordinance, and we can get it all done at one time to take effect at the beginning of the year. Okay. Hopefully, I think we could probably start the process no later than the November meeting. And that, I think that's pretty much it.
So you possibly have that for our January meeting?
You said.
December meeting?
Well, basically, we would probably want to do it, if we follow normal procedure, first reading November, second reading December to take effect January, I would imagine.
Yearly memberships.
What's that?
You need to do a calendar year then for memberships.
Yes, that's the plan. And so basically, we're hoping that through notifying the members, we can start getting everything migrated over to take effect in the first part of November. We'll just have to eat the first 2 months, but it's pretty minimal. And I think that's pretty much it as far as that goes. So, any questions, comments? Okay. Thank you very much.
See, Todd's not here, everybody has their, his inspection report, that you go over. If you have any questions, you fire an email to me.
He did say that he did go look at the milk wire house that was in question, and he said it is still structurally sound. The door is sealed and functioning. The tarp is of a minimal size on the roof, but it is covered. But the question was whether it was structurally sound when he went to go look at it, and he did report that it was. So that's what he wanted me to pass on.
I know we've had concerns about all of this, and at the Talk of the Town meeting, it's a meeting where people from each community meet up and, explain it. And we all discuss issues. Yes, that are going on, and those kind of situations came up. The houses that are dilapidated and need extra care. And right now, nowhere in the county do we have a real firm rule about that. And so it is something we are throwing around right now. I did talk to somebody in Jasper, and they've developed one, but Jasper's a much larger community than we are. And if we need advice, then we'll seek it there. But just so you know, the whole county is talking about that issue and trying to figure out how to make sure the houses that need to be cleaned up can get cleaned up.
You know, the other thing, since the town owns that property, we could look at possibly doing away with the property or putting it out for a sale or auction.
Yeah. The appraiser bringing that talk.
Yeah.
This
We
is-
don't own the
this is-
milk.
We don't own the
this is
milk
different.
wire.
Yeah, this is the Melchior house, that's the.
This is the one down on South
Mhm.
Boundary, right by
Yeah.
Jasper.
Has the appraiser come yet about that other property across from Candy Castle?
I don't know if he's come yet, I've exchanged emails with him.
Okay,
I don't know what the scope was.
okay.
I tried to remember something looking at it, it was a bit.
I told him
Which
that
one?
too.
Wait.
The roof.
It's the first on the left.
Rice.
The Ruth Rice,
Yeah.
yeah.
Sound out here. that on South County?
It's the twin
Very
houses.
first one.
It's the, yeah, it's the twins.
7, 8 years ago.
It's been empty for 10 years.
Yeah,
Yes,
has been
yes,
empty for a long time.
yes, much longer than that.
Yeah.
Most of the time I've lived there.
I was thinking of the other house that we had.
Yeah,
That one's in the process of getting disposed of.
yeah.
Which one's that?
The
The Ruth Rice,
It's
we,
still there?
yeah,
I thought maybe it's not
you
there.
can't see it.
Yeah.
We move on to our police department.
Good evening, everybody. All I have is a monthly report. Don't know if anybody has any questions about that. It's still staying pretty busy. Yeah, which is.
With holiday road coming down, you
Yeah.
think it would have calmed down.
Yeah, I think it will, once Christmas is over. Then we got that January, February, March where we can actually get some training done and get the requirements through the academy. The only other thing I have is Logan, go ahead and stand up. Logan Helming is our new officer. He's military, did 14 months in South Korea. Yep. He was full-time Army, got out of the Army, and has joined the National Guard since. So he's gonna be a huge asset. He's doing really good. He's out on the road. I have him scheduled to go to the academy at the end of January, which is great for us because he'll be back in May.
Oh.
Just
Just in time. I would like to say this about our department. We have a great department. Over the last couple of years, we've struggled as far as keeping guys here. Logan Musgrave was a really good officer. But these guys are looking for more money. And I know we've discussed that, and I'm not gonna get into that right now. But in order to keep these guys, we've gotta make sure we're paying them right. The county just got a $5,200 raise per deputy, which puts them at $50,400 for the lowest paid deputy. I'm not saying we have to do that, because the county's a little bigger, but in order to keep these guys, we have a great department. I know 3 of them right now are not going anywhere, and he's at least not going anywhere for 2 years, but, we gotta keep them, and that's all I wanna say. We got a good group of guys here. They bust their butts. They give up a lot of free time, to make sure the town's safe, so that's all I got. Unless anybody has questions.
Congratulations and welcome, Logan.
Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Give me a second while I collect my thoughts here. I've got several things that I want to go over, and I promise I'll try to keep them as quick and painless as possible. So I do have the 3 orphan utilities that I report on, trails, water, and wastewater. So do the trails first, knock that out pretty quick. There's nothing new to report on the trail project. They are all done, ready. Under the Spencer County Visitor Bureau $10,000 grant that we applied for sometime this year. I think the Visitor Bureau is a little preoccupied moving into their new building, so I haven't heard anything on that. So if y'all don't know anything about the Fifth Third Bank building.
I have a question about that. Did we sell the ground room in Gelly Park, or was that sold by the Cook Estate?
That was, yeah, thank you.
We had a long-term lease on it to use it. That part of it, the Bill Cook Trust, that. So, they have.
We were providing water and so. That's all I have on the trails, unless the council has any questions. We can knock out the utility report real quick as well. Council has that, there are no questions, we can move on, there's nothing really that jumps out, other than, one thing came up Friday afternoon, Kevin, that sheet that I laid on your table, that is an item that, concerns our permit renewal that we have to have. They used to let us, or the department head sign it, now it has to be signed by the county council president. So that's the only part that's missing from our application.
Okay.
Again, if there's no other questions on the report, I'll move on.
Any, word on those poles that you guys set on the trails?
Yeah, we were supposed to have got quotes tonight.
Okay.
We received any quotes for the bollards?
For the bollards.
No.
There you go, here's your answer, 0 quotes.
Okay. Okay.
That is something we had early on entertained doing in-house, but I just don't think it's possible right now, at least with any expediency. I mean, we have 18 to do and one replacement over $1 now. The next order of business is to, what I wanted to do was just take a moment and kind of explain to the council and public how we got to where we're going to be with the sewer rehab project. We're getting ready to unleash about $3 million in rehabilitation of our sewer system. Again, unfortunately, maybe for me, we've got one of the founding fathers here, right here, Tim Winchell, he was probably here back in the day. And some of that sewer and other infrastructure put in, but anyway, so, and he can correct me if my history is wrong, but anyway, in the mid-70s and 80s, they started installing the sewer collection system over there. At that time, the state-of-the-art pipe was vitreous clay pipe, tile, which is just basically a glass pipe, joined every 5 feet, laid in conjunction with 3 big lakes. So that has run into some problems over the years. So when I started here in 1994, the town used its edit monies to mitigate I&I within the collection system. We had 2 folks, a truck, backhoe, and all the tools associated with that to carry out that function. We lost that, I think in 98 or 99. So now it's been done by the town forces that we have currently, which, as you guys know, are at the very minimum right now. We've got more or less 65 miles of gravity sewer line, and since 1998, we have been studying through flow meters, lapse timers, visual inspections, camera inspections, and we have compiled what we call our list of top 6 offenders. Those being service areas within the subdivisions in the village that we can quantify the amount of water that we sold to those neighborhoods and then see what kind of sewage we've got pumped back. To give you all an example, our #1 offender, which is service area number 5, that's Prancer, some of them in that area over there. And this data comes from April of 22, which happened to be the wettest month of that year. We sold 455,000 gallons of water to that service area. There was almost 4 million gallons of water pumped back. So Lisa, that's why it made the #1 offender. Even if we're wrong by 50%, you're still looking at 2 million, almost 3 million gallons extra of water. So again, pretty self-evident. Another example, Lift Station 8 area, that's the 5th subdivision, and a little bit of the 11th. We sold them 174,000 gallons of water. Yeah, you're almost there, down to the left, right, down, right there.
And that's me.
You are part of that, yes, you're part of the problem.
I wonder why I had no water pressure. I still have no water pressure.
So we sold those folks 174,000 gallons of water and pumped back 566,000.
And there's way less homes right there than the other one.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Another example, Lift Station 7 area, service area 7, that's top left corner, Lake Noel, that area. In April of 22, we sold them 178,000 gallons of water and received back 2.1 million. Now keep in mind, since about 1998, we've done $500,000 in rehab of these systems, but we're just spot repairing. It is a goal and the intent of this project to mitigate or lessen some of our I&I, but another aspect of this project is to get a renewed, updated collection system infrastructure. So again, not only will we have the mains rehabilitated, the town also owns portions of the laterals that feed each lot. So we found through our lateral inspection program that we do have a lot of issues in our laterals on the private side as well. So, and then during the private side investigation, we found that ours were just as bad, if not worse. Again, clay pipe, short lengths.
What was the time period for these collection numbers? Is that 1 year worth, or is that?
We've been doing this since 1998.
I mean, your numbers are 4 million.
1 year.
1 year? Wow.
I'm sorry, this is 1 month. So what I did was I just took the wettest month of that particular year to use it as a
It's over like 7 million free gallons that it wasn't paid for.
Good.
In 3 systems.
So, and Seth brings up an excellent point. Not only just moving clear water, we're wearing out our pumps. Yeah, well, actually, yeah, we are treating it, and clear water is one of the worst things you can put through a sewer plant. It is by far the worst thing you can put in there, other than cereal, actually. So, yeah, dilutes,
Yeah, no bacteria.
dilutes your bacteria, absolutely. So, how am I doing so far? Okay.
You're doing great.
Good, all right. So, that's
I'll stop
really
you
it.
if you do something.
He keeps an eye on me, you've been going low these many years, so.
You're doing a good job.
I pay him well, so. Let's see, I'm off my script, and in fact, I've lost my script. Oh. So I think I've really, covered, what I wanted to kind of get across to the folks tonight, and why we're doing it, and how we got here.
So how long will that take?
They're estimating, and again, these are just off the cuff, back and napkin estimates, they're hoping to do 1,000 to 1,500 feet per week. So again, you know, depending on terrain, depending on weather.
What does that do to service?
So yeah, that's a key question, because whenever you, get ready for this, whenever you use this liquid thermoset resin saturated material, just imagine taking your sock and rolling it out and then putting a resin in that. They've got to cure that, and it'll set as hard as that block right there. Then they have to go and reinstate all the surface. They have to send the camera with the saw and they cut them back out. And typically, it's not an issue because most folks are at work, typically not at home. And we will go out with a notification prior to notifying folks what's going on, and please to lessen your water use. So we got it. I've never seen it be an issue. We've done slip lining, probably not the right term. We've done cured in place pipe here before, and never really had an issue with it. The biggest issue we have is in the initial cleaning, they will send a high pressure sprayer up there to clean the pipe, get the leaks out. And it does tend to blow lids off toilets every once in a while. So again, we try to warn folks about that too. Time your bathroom time on that particular day.
Be quiet today.
So that is really it in a nutshell, unless the council or public has any more questions.
That was, and you're doing 6 service areas, that was just your
That's
top
correct,
three?
yeah. Well, I've got 4 for sure, 2 is an alternate. Again, I just don't know in this environment where these costs or where these prices will come in. I know we've garnered a lot of interest. I think we got, 7 or 8 requests for plans today. And we have
15 altogether.
15 total contractors that are interested in this job, so that should help us.
Oh,
And
yeah.
again, I know
Yes.
that there are some contractors looking for some end of the year kind of work, which is
Yeah.
going more until next year too.
Right.
We will see on September the 20th.
Good.
We have it for 10 o'clock here, we bid opening 10 o'clock here on September the 20th.
Who else able to come out there?
I think it was Jason,
Could
Brian, and you.
Okay, good. I know I was. I just
Right,
didn't know.
yeah.
Kenny was okay. All right, good.
That's all I have again on that portion. Underwater, again, that, I dare I say, that project is coming to a close. The painters are done back to the water tower, the electricians have moved in. I believe they have all of their conduit installed going up the tower, now they gotta get it from the tower to the electrical panel. And of course, there'll be the demo of the old 150,000 gallon tank, probably, I'm guessing November. I may sell tickets for that, that's gonna be something to see.
Yeah.
If you've ever seen that done, those people are artists at what they do, it's really amazing thing to watch.
They're gonna blow it up?
They don't know yet, they may do what they call a tip, is where they will just basically wedge, 2 of the 5 legs, and then just cut them back and just tip it and not to fall. If you all saw when they took down the old witch's hat here at Holiday World some years ago, that was amazing. They took that thing down from the top and just dropped it down, it's like topping a tree. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thanks.
We're going to the town attorney now. Kevin, if you wanna talk about the Spencer County visitors.
Yeah, Kevin and I talked after we applied for that next level grant, and the Spencer County Visitors Bureau has opened I got an email from Melissa about that time saying, we're still a lot of money for this year to get out for a tourism project, so Governor authorized me and I put in for it. And 2 days later, they said, we got $10,000 for you for your next level. Of course, it's contingent on us actually getting the next level grant. So they have committed $10,000 to the grant.
Thank you for your help on that.
You hear from me on that.
Second reading.
Second reading. I have for you the second reading of ordinance 2023-11, an ordinance establishing the Department of Economic Development. As discussed previously, this is just to have on the table basically, in case we do have any specifically residential developments that desire any kind of tax treatment that would require action by this economic development, Department of Economic Development. So this will be up for the second reading and adoption.
Do we need to have that pre-read, or is everybody still familiar with it? Okay. Everybody's fine with it? Can we have a motion to approve the second reading?
Make a motion to approve the second reading of ordinance 2023-11, establishing an EDC account.
Second.
Have a first and second. Any other discussion on this matter? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Let it be known that it passes 5-0.
Now the
Credit.
town council needs to nominate someone, and the town council president needs to nominate someone to serve on the board, and then the town council president actually names them. And I will send out to the county council also appoints, or nominates someone, but then the town council president appoints.
Okay. So we need to come up with some names, and we get together,
Yes.
the emails, send names in to Jane,
Yep.
and she can forward the list.
Yep.
to everybody.
Yes.
Well,
Good deal. I also have, it's not on the agenda as Zach said, but we have the first reading of ordinance 2023-13, an ordinance amending chapter 1.11.010 of the municipal code of Santa Claus, permitting and regulating the use of credit and charge cards by town employees. What this does is it raises the maximum credit limit. It only amends subsection 2, which now states business credit card issued to the town shall have a maximum credit limit of not more than $5,000. So it raises the credit limit up to their purchasing authority. So this would be the first reading of ordinance 2023-13.
Make a motion to approve the first reading of ordinance 2023-13. What's the name of it?
An ordinance amending chapter 1.11.010 of the municipal code of Santa Claus, permitting and regulating the use of credit and charge cards by town employees.
So moved.
Second.
Yeah,
First and second. Any other discussion on that? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Let it be known that passes 5-0. Do we feel this is a time sensitive?
Can we just go on and just do our second reading
Yeah,
and be
can we
done?
just do the second
You
reading?
have to-
Is this time sensitive? Do you need it done right now? Do we need that done right now?
It's not super pressing, I mean, it's not gonna hurt anything, but it's not,
What you got coming on for the next month?
a bunch of stuff, if I can put it on.
Can we go ahead and make a motion?
Yeah, second.
Make a motion to suspend the
I
rules?
second that, make a motion to suspend the rules.
Have a first and second to suspend the rules on this reading. Any other discussion on that? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Let it be known it passes 5-0. Now we can have a second reading.
Now you have, for second reading, ordinance 2023-13, an ordinance amending chapter 1.11.010 of the municipal code of Santa Claus, permitting and regulating the use of credit and charge cards by town employees.
Make a motion to approve the second reading and adoption of ordinance 2023-13.
Second.
Have a first and second. Any other discussion on this? Also, I just want to add a comment that we're not giving the supervisors any additional spending on this, but they have that ability to do $5,000, but not on the credit cards. So all those in favor say aye.
it. Kevin, did you want to bring up the co-development agreement?
Yeah, I'd like to bring that up. Was contacted earlier today, Holiday World, where they're wanting to attach to our trail that goes by Holiday World there on 162, and will come out of their employee entrance, they want to put a sidewalk on the north side of their driveway coming in. They're needing approval by the town because it connects to our trail. And then this would be forwarded on to the state of Indiana for their approval. Also, Holiday World is wanting to put a street light at that location to highlight their intersection as noted on this map.
Is this is all paid for by them?
All paid for by them.
Is it identical to the current one, so it's not gonna look
Right.
like a little
Is it
weird
the
thing
same?
coming into it? So same width, same specifications, everything?
I would imagine it would be.
If you look at it by scale, it looks the same, but quite unlike the one they do over at Williams, which is just a sidewalk.
Right, exactly.
It's just, I think it's just a way to get the kids.
Right.
Safer ingress, egress.
Kids are walking down the driveway now.
Our driveway.
Yes.
They're just getting all those kids walking down. They wouldn't go get out of the employee parking lot.
Okay.
You won't even see this thing because it's
Right.
slope.
Those dip off.
Yeah.
Unless you're in the park, you won't see it because of the slope.
This is just someone,
Basically on the far side of their drive, on the sidewalk to connect to the trail. And I would be all for that, for kids. Yeah. And I don't know if they're amenable to it, but quite frankly, if they would be willing to put a curb on both sides of their entrance, it would help us tremendously because there's a bunch of gravel and dirt that is just piled up there, and every time we get a rain or somebody drives over it, it washes down on the trail. And so then you've got, thumbnail size to pinky nail size rocks sitting on the trail that people are biking and stuff. I don't know if they're amenable to that or not.
What's that?
Or on asphalt.
Yeah,
Yeah, we could ask them to consider doing that.
that would be appreciated.
So what you need is a motion to authorize Kevin, or as the town council president, to sign the additional disclosure for the state of Indiana Department of Transportation, which simply says that we agree that they can use this. It's in the NDOT right of way. Our trail is in the NDOT right of way, so NDOT is the one who's mandating this, that before we tie onto it. They want our basic consent.
I make a motion with allow the town president to sign the agreement, allowing all our role to sign it.
Second.
Have a first and second. Any other discussion on this? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Let you know, it passes 5-0. And I'll reach out to them tomorrow, I'll let them know if they have our blessing. And sign off.
Do you have another, thing to read, another ordinance? Remember, we were going to modify that in that ordinance.
You were modified. I said
It was
that.
already
Okay,
modified.
okay, good,
That was
yeah.
done like 12 years ago.
Yeah.
You remember me saying, I know we got rid of that.
Yes,
I looked back through my old ordinances and it was done, I forgot what the year it was a long, long time ago. Because I remember that being an issue before about not having cages. I think it was with the water.
Yeah. we got rid of all of that a long time.
A long, I don't know where she found it on the web, because I looked at the website right away.
And you couldn't find it there either?
So I looked back through my old ordinances and I found it, I forgot what the number was.
Actually, they made it in 2003 because there's about 8 foot of overburden stacked up right there.
Yeah. So yeah, I found the old ordinance where it was changed to take out that provision. It still has the town marshal having the ability to fine people for
Right.
stray animals. But the whole thing about
storing
him being the catcher and taking them to the sewer plant was taken out a long time ago.
Okay, good. I missed it, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I sent out an email on that. Yep. So it's unnecessary.
Good.
You're done?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna kind of go out of order and I'm gonna hit some of these quicker things first. The update on the bank reconciliations, I have reached out to Susie Bass to help with bringing the water and wastewater bank reconciliations current. We had talked about that at a previous meeting, but with some stuff going on and me needing to look into some things further, it's kind of been delayed, but I have reached out to her, so she is going to start bringing those two accounts balanced and current. We are in the middle of a audit with the state of Indiana. The auditors are here. They've been here for 2 weeks now, combined time. They are looking at a lot of things, keeping my office hopping. We are digging for all kinds of information, so, but they've been very pleasant to work with. They've been very patient. One of the auditors is new herself, so we're all kind of, pitching in together. So the staff has been great, and also I just want to say the other departments have been very great about helping out too, helping move boxes around with the police department. Zach's been over helping. A lot of the departments have just all pitched in. Anytime they're over there, they're always asking if they can do anything, if I need help with anything. So I just kind of want to throw that out there too. So the auditing situation's going very well. I don't expect there so far to be any issues that we need to be concerned about. One of the other things, the state of Indiana deposited some money into our bank account for some opioid money that was supposed to go to the county. So they did notify us of their error, with instructions on that we should write a check to the county auditor's office for the mistake that they had made. So we have done that. We have reached out to the county. We actually wrote the check to the treasurer at the request of the county auditor. She wanted the check made out to the treasurer, which is been common, so that's nothing unusual. But that check has been written and sent out to them. So that mistake has been corrected, and so we're good on that. Then any questions on any of that? Okay. The next thing we have is the public hearing on the budget. I do have the first reading of the ordinance, and I'm going to get to that, but I did send out the budget to everyone ahead of time. You can see from the email that the budget is over budget with the budgeting of the family insurance along with the town manager, which we expected that to be the case. The overage amount is $26,732.60. So I think we need to make some decisions. I'm not sure whether the DLGF is going to approve the budget. If we submit it being over, we can do that. We can submit it and see what happens. There are some concerns about it being over as a recurring situation, since we're not over because of any kind of big purchase, one-time purchase. We didn't purchase like equipment. If we fund both the town manager and the family insurance, we're going to continue to run in a deficit every year. So we do have the reserve to cover it. It's not that we don't have the reserve to cover the overage. It's more the concern of whether the budget approval is going to continue to be approved when we're showing a deficit every year. So that's just something I think that needs to be addressed tonight, because the adoption for the budget hearing will be next month. Tonight will be the first reading. I'm going to read it as I have reported it to Gateway. But I think that's something that we need to really talk about tonight, to see before we actually adopt the budget next month, whether we want to make any changes. We can go ahead and make changes to what I've already submitted before it's actually adopted. So I think that's something that we should discuss tonight to make sure we're all on board on how that's going to get submitted, whether we're going to submit it with an overage or whether we're going to, make changes to the budget. I know I don't get a vote, but I think that something that we should consider is maybe tabling the town manager position until next year for various reasons. just because that will put us in the black. That's the most simplest way to get us in the black, is by tabling that for another year, taking it out of the budget for this year and relooking at it next year when we know more what the bottom line on the family insurance is gonna be, what our expenses are gonna be. And I think that's a reasonable thing to consider because, I mean, we're still working on the process of the, job description. There's still a lot of work that needs to be in place for the hiring. So again, I don't get a vote, but that would be my recommendation at this point, is that maybe you consider tabling it for a year and then revisiting it next budget season after we know more about what the family expense insurance
We have beat that
is.
dead horse since I've been on this. I've sat back and looked at it, and there's not enough employees, there's not enough department heads to justify a town manager. And then when we get in the middle, if we would do that, it's just gonna be an endless fight. Russ has his equipment, which is shared between water, sewer, streets, whatever else it's shared between, and it'd be a fight daily.
More so, I mean, I'd rather take care of our employees
Yes, health insurance is more important.
say, employees, forget about us doing something for you. And then,
And it would
hiring
fix
a new
this problem
position.
real fast.
That's what I agree with, what Patricia said, is that the employees that we have are excellent employees. I'm not even sure, I know you guys know it, but I'm not really sure you know it. I mean, I can tell you from my experience in the places that I've worked over the last several years that I have never seen employees as dedicated to their jobs and as dedicated to the community that they live in, and will go above and beyond to do anything that's needed from them, even when it's out of their job scope. They don't ever even hesitate to help out another department, which, I said earlier. I mean, just today, Zach fixed a light bulb that he didn't have to right before this meeting, volunteered to do that. Travis has volunteered to do lots of stuff. I mean, the employees that you have are very dedicated. They're hard workers, they're dedicated, and I really think that if they want the family insurance, the focus should be there. I'm not saying at all that we don't need a town manager. I'm not for or against it. I'm just thinking it's a logical choice to try to put that off for 1 year until we can see how the family insurance is going to pan out, what that final expense is going to be. Ultimately, that decision's up to you guys, but I think that supporting what the employees are asking for, they're asking for more benefits, they're asking for family insurance, and I think the focus should be there for this year, and then we can revisit the town manager. I mean, you have excellent department heads. We all work together very well. I know Zach had said that we could even maybe do some department head meetings with all the department heads to try to work out any glitches or anything that we have as a team, because we all brainstorm and work very well together. So that's something we could try out this year too, in the meantime of preparing better for the town manager position in the budget next year. I know I haven't spoken to any of the other department heads, but I feel like that's something maybe we could do is, a monthly department head meeting too, to try to work out if someone's needing help with something, they need additional help. Like I said, we're all there to help and support each other and, make the community, run smoothly.
I don't think you need us, Jane. I think you're doing well by yourself. But I will say, in conjunction with what Jane said, she's exactly correct. You guys have about the best crew of employees that I've ever seen. And I do know that I've spoken in public meetings about how hard it is to obtain and retain employees. So we need to sweeten that pot, so to speak, with family insurance, with more benefits, with better salary. And I would hate to see it, dare I say, squandered on a town manager, because there's nothing, in my opinion, that a town manager can do for us right now. Maybe 10 years ago, maybe 10 years in the future, I don't know. But in addition, I know years ago, and again, if the thing preying on the council's mind is, things not getting taken care of maybe in a timely fashion or at all. I know back years ago, each council member was assigned a department. And they would work with that department head to brainstorm prior to a meeting. That way they could bring resolutions to some issues. They can bring suggestions and ideas as well. Just another thing to consider.
I agree with everybody that we're talking about tonight. To me, our employees are the life of the town. They're there when we need them. They're there all the time for help. We need this family insurance to keep employees, to have more applicants possibly come into the area that want to work here because what we can offer our employees. So therefore, I'm in agreement with Jane and everybody else to remove the town manager from the budget.
Jane, I got a question.
Yes.
I agree with everything everybody's saying, but some of us don't know. How much does it cost for a town manager? How much does it cost for family insurance? And where does that money come from?
See, I think that's, people are going around that family insurance is good for the whole town, but it's not.
It's not.
Okay?
No,
I
you're
think
right,
it's
Seth.
actually- I would like to see the numbers on who would use it, who wouldn't, and where the money's going, because James has 5 guys and no one takes it. So his guys will see nothing. And more money will come out of the budget for this, but here we need more money for those guys, and they'll see nothing. You know, so I think you really need to look at these numbers before we just flat new family insurance at the same percentage we've been doing it at, and look at where's the money gonna go?
Well, same could be
How
said for
directed
any
is it? You know, how concentrated is it to a few people versus, you know, based on everyone else?
I do agree with you. I think that the budget is cushioned a little heavier than what it's going to end up being at the end of the year. I know that the council wanted to do that just so worst case scenario, you know, what if someone's, you know, spouse lost their job and had to be put on the insurance? You know, they wanted a bigger picture of what the worst case scenario is going to be. I think we've budgeted probably higher than what we're going to see at the end of the year, just based on some of the things you're bringing up as far as not everyone who's budgeted is going to take it. Some things like that, but that's where once we get it in place, we see who's on it, we still cushion a little bit for those extra people who may, you know, have to, because of life circumstances, get on the insurance mid-year or whatever. We still cushion a little bit for that, but we'll know better at the end of the year what, you know, what that's gonna cost. And it's not gonna affect everyone, you're right. I mean, not everyone's gonna take it, and
I agree, it's a great way to get people hired. I was just asking, like, where does it come from?
Yeah, so I think the original budget for the town manager was $150K, that
Yes.
salary benefits and all that stuff, is that right?
yes, it's originally
I don't
budgeted.
recall what the extra was gonna be for the.
Insurance.
I think it was 50,000 from the town budget.
It's-
50
yeah.
from water, 50 from sewer.
Correct.
But what was
The town manager, yep.
General?
No.
No, only 50 from
It'd be a third, water, wastewater, and general.
So what is the family, what was the family insurance budget that we budgeted?
Well, we budgeted, according to what, and I didn't bring
No,
those
I know.
those numbers with me, I'm sorry, but we budgeted according to what the insurance company budgeted for what they call a composite rate, which is a set rate for single employees, employee spouse, employee with children. It was based on those rooms with 85% of the premium paid by the town and 15% paid by the employee.
So what's the total premium for family insurance?
I didn't bring her quote with me, I don't know it off the top of my head.
2,800
Per month, per person?
and that's.
Oh,
so-
I thought you meant total, grand total,
No,
like
I mean,
what,
like, for a family that's on it, what are they paying a month? What's the total premium for the month?
it's like $2,800 for family, spouse, and children, that's the total premium. So the town would be responsible for 85% of that, the employee would be responsible for 15% of that.
So if it
So
doesn't-
everyone's premiums, though, are gonna go up.
2,800.
That's one thing I wanna,
That's a huge number for one family.
That's one thing I want to say too, is that the employees' monthly premium is going to go up regardless because of the way the composite ratings are. Some people's may go down a little bit, others are going to go up, and you kind of meet in the middle with a composite rating. So even with the raises that have been proposed at the budget workshops, I mean, the employees' raises are still, when you look at what their take-home is gonna be, it's still gonna be minimal. I mean, they're gonna be breaking even, but they are getting the benefit of the family insurance for the ones that
So someone
wanna.
who's not taking family insurance is gonna be affected by this negatively.
Yes. Yes. As one of those employees that's potentially going to be affected negatively, doesn't matter.
That's what I would.
I don't know that they're gonna be affected negatively though, because if you're giving them the same percentage raise that they, you know, we had discussed with the department heads at the budget meetings and stuff, if they're getting the same raise, whether they take insurance or not, they're still getting that raise.
I
We're
mean,
not,
their
we're not.
insurance premium for somebody on single insurance, their premium goes up if we have family.
Yes, a little bit. Yeah, a little bit.
What I'm saying is, in the big picture of it, I'm willing to have to carry that to make sure that I can keep good people working for the town around.
That's right.
That's fair.
You're gonna get better applicants too.
Yes. Yes.
Do you, department heads, feel like people are disturbed by us offering family insurance? Like it's making them angry?
I haven't heard anything, I haven't heard anything negative from any of the employees.
More the other way, if we don't have family insurance. Because all of a sudden you decide to have a family, somebody's got to either leave, go look for family insurance at a different job, or whatever.
I mean, we
Or try
don't
to get
want
it
our-
on secondary market.
Right, we don't want our employees to be unhappy. But if we offer a better benefit, to me, it seems like,
Because I just didn't see all the different options we were offered from different carriers and premiums and different things like that, or did we just tack it on the plan we have?
The
Did we
only,
shop it out and look at
well,
what all's
yeah.
out there, or did we just say, here's what we have, just tack family on?
Yeah, my understanding is she has a window for opening up, per our contract, opening it up for bids to other places. We are not quite there yet for her to be able to open it up for bids from other things. So this was basically based on moving it to family insurance with the census that we have of people. She did a census, a study, so to speak, on which employees would be interested in family insurance if we should carry it. So she took those people, that number that she did that census for, and that's what she basically used as a baseline to build this estimate. Of course, this is only an estimate because we're not in the window to open it up. It's just an estimate based on
what we know
what we
right now.
want and those type of things. So yes, that's what I'm saying. This insurance, it's an estimate and it could change. And, you know, once we get everything set up, we go with the carrier we want, we, you know, decide all the fine details in the the actual policy we choose, those numbers are gonna change versus what we budgeted for, because it's not a firm price. I mean, there's still a lot of fluid decisions that will need to be made
Just
when
looking
the
at the
policy's
budgets,
open.
and I see a lot of them jump big time for this, but the clerk treasurer department, you didn't put any in for you guys.
I did,
2,000? You only added 2,000, I mean, you more than doubled Parks and Rec, but you only added 2,000 onto yours, is that right?
well, I mean, ours, we have a lot of single girls in my office, so they're based on the single rate. They're not, we didn't budget for spouses, we didn't budget for children. I mean, when we budgeted for, again, I was asked to budget for like a worst case scenario. So let's just say currently, I mean, I'm just gonna throw someone out there. I'm just gonna use James. So James would say budgeted for him, his wife, you know, and his child that's what he's budgeted for, because that's the worst case scenario, that, you know, if his wife would quit her job to be a stay-at-home mom, she may have to go on his insurance with their child. That's what I was asked to do, so that's what we were done. That may not be reality, though. You know, that's just not the reality. I mean, my department's a little different because they don't have spouses, they don't have children, they don't have, so each department is a little different based on what potentially could happen within their department. And that's what I'm saying. I think we possibly, doing the worst case scenario, I understand why you wanted to see those numbers, but at the same time, I feel like, you know, those numbers are also maybe not gonna be what ends up happening, you know, because James isn't on the insurance, his wife has insurance, and I don't think she's gonna quit her job to be a stay-at-home mom, maybe she will, but, you know. So I think some of those situations are, you know, they're things that could happen but are unlikely to happen, so they're probably not going to, in the end, be on our bottom line number. Does that make sense?
The town manager and the insurance, what is that annually? Like, as a big, if you had to guess one number, what is that annually? Is it?
Total insurance?
150.
150 for town manager and insurance?
That's everything.
And that
That's-
comes, and that.
No, you're talking two different things, you're trying to lump two things. 150 is just town manager, insurance is another.
So what's that total?
I'm sorry, I didn't bring the quote because it was all sent out to them ahead of time, so.
And insurance is probably a couple.
Because my question is, town manager and insurance, that has to come out of department budgets, right? Is there?
The town manager is coming out of 3 departments. It's coming out of the general fund, it's coming out of the water fund, and it's coming out of the wastewater.
Yeah, most of the insurance.
It's getting divided by three different
And
departments.
insurance comes out of each department as well, right?
Yes, the insurance is gonna come out of,
Department budget for both of them.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah, you get
Okay,
100,000
so my next question is, we have before I start, we have like $6.2 million in
Yes.
this town. Is there a way to move some of that money into these departments if we make this move? I don't know how that works, but.
No, you can't use that money for recurring things like
That's what
this.
she's saying, it's a recurring thing.
it's a recurrent,
But can we move it to supplement in other, like equipment?
Because right now we're over budget.
I understand that, but I'm saying in the near future, can we do something like that to make up, rather than cut everybody's budgets? Because everybody's already tight with inflation and everything. I mean, oh, we're gonna have to buy goats to keep the fields mowed down at the park a year and a half ago.
well, and that's the thing, and that's why I'm suggesting, you know, we haven't taken on the town manager yet. That's not something we have taken on as an expense, but, I mean, the department heads currently have submitted budgets that they want or feel like they need to do their jobs well, and the things that they need to operate well. So that's what I would like to see stay intact. I want to see the budgets that were presented at the budget hearing stay intact. I want Zach's budget to stay intact. I want James's budget, because they worked hard on them and they put a lot of thought into meeting with his board. James doesn't have a board, but they spent a lot of time trying to decide where they wanted the money divided in their department. And, you know, the thing is we're over budget, so, I mean, we're gonna have to either make cuts other places, or we're gonna have to cut something that we haven't taken on yet. So that's where like I said, I don't really have a vote in this matter, but.
My question is, all of it's great. I
Mm-hmm.
think the insurance is a good idea, and town manager, if it's done the right way, can be a good idea too.
Right.
Whenever we're prepared for it. But if we're digging into those budgets and we have $6 million sitting there, at what point can we use some of that money in these departments? I don't understand that part of it, and that's what I'm asking.
Well, we are talking about 3 separate distinct departments, okay? So you have the general fund, which is funded by tax dollars, right? And then you have the wastewater and water utility that are revenue generated. So I have no way to supplement. I have no other fund, I have no caption fund or anything like that. I have pick from. So, and
You can
you know,
be
and right now,
right.
this environment, I mean, you know, Zach probably knows, it doesn't matter what you order, it's 3 months out and it's 3 times as much.
Right.
So that's what we're dealing with. I mean, it just, again, I would be subject to myself, I would be paying for 2/3 of this town manager. That puts me in a particular bind, so.
As a department head, I would like to second what Jane had mentioned. Basically, I need my budget number that I was discussing in July. I don't care if you put it in the insurance line item, to be frank, I can go the other way and play the same silly game. As soon as Kayla and I start having kids, I'm going on insurance, and her insurance, I'm gonna save you money. So we can play all these hypotheticals all we want, but I need my number, and it can be funny money up in the insurance line, but the bottom line is I'm gonna spend it on fixing things, because we're still fixing things.
Well, you won't be able to move it from 100 item to 200.
Yeah, I will, at the end of the year with your approval, she can move it. So you can play it however you wanna play it, but I need that money, is basically what I'm getting down to. So, sorry, a little heated. But
Yeah, that's gonna make more work on me, Zach. No, I'm teasing. I'm just teasing you.
In 3 years, 2.5, 3 years, he's done amazing work down there. And anybody that drives down there can see it. It's awesome. But he's still fixing, we're not really, we're getting to the point where we can start growing the park and doing some new things, but we're still fixing things that are, 10 years old that needed to be fixed, or maybe even further down the road. But, the world we live in today, it's not cheap to do that. So,
I want to add with what Zach's saying for our department. The budget that I submitted back in July, I need that. I have to have that to keep these guys, to keep the town protected. And it's important, and if we can't keep that budget for town manager or whatever it may be, we're going to end up losing more officers, and we're not going to have the safety that we have now. So we need that budget.
Kelly?
A couple of things is, you guys can look at not doing the 15%. You can do so much money for an employee, a flat rate. An employee and a spouse, a flat rate. And a family one, you could do a flat rate, you know what I mean? Instead of doing the percentage, you could do that, which will help you guys out and be good for the employees. That wouldn't be a bad thing, as long as it's not some astronomical number. Because you have to remember that some of these employees are making $16 or $17 an hour.
Yeah, I think you need to look at it from like, total employee benefits, like you would for like, collective bargaining, of where it's going, so that you can try to make it fair for everybody, not, because your older employees already pay more, and they're not gonna benefit from family insurance. So I think, aren't we age banded on our?
Yeah, we are age banded
So they're already
currently.
paying more, plus they're not, most of them aren't taking family insurance. I think you really need to look.
But those
I'm not saying
people
it's a bad
actually-
thing, I'm just saying you need to make sure that it's gonna be fair for everyone, not just we're throwing family insurance on, because we need employees when you're not helping everyone with it. I think you need to.
But the ones that are on the insurance that are age banded are getting a small benefit, because like you're saying, I'll use myself, I'm one of the older ones, and so my premium is higher. So I also will never need family insurance. I'm getting a slight benefit because my premium is probably gonna drop just a little bit, not anything significant, but a little bit. So you're kind of, the ones that are younger and that are gonna be using the family insurance are gonna be paying a little bit more than they are now with the age banded. The older employees that you have that are paying higher premiums because we're age banded are gonna be saving a little bit because they're gonna drop a little
I think
bit. So
you're missing my point.
I guess I am,
Yeah,
yeah.
my point is, the money we have for raises and higher salaries
Mhm.
will be going to premiums that won't be available for other people. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, but
I'm
the-
saying you look at the employee benefits as a whole, look at
But
where all
that's-
your employees are, and then make sure the
Well,
money
even
is
if
being.
someone is being slighted by insurance benefits, you can always compensate them with a higher salary.
That's what I'm saying,
Yes.
you need to look at that, you need to look at that.
But that was looked at when we did the budget workshops. The department heads looked at their staff and where they wanted them to be at an hourly rate and submitted that. Not all of them were on an equal flat percentage because some of the areas needed to be
Boosted more.
looked at differently and changed and boosted, and we made adjustments for that to happen. So that's what I'm trying to preserve, is the work that they also put into looking at where their staff needs to be wage-wise, and, you know, bringing them into an area that the department head feels comfortable with.
Make a motion to remove the town manager from the 2024 budget. Just right now is not the right time for it. We're talking in circles here.
I still have I didn't get to finish when I was talking, and I started talking about it. The other thing too is I know when we worked on the budgets and went through those, in the last 4 or 5 years, the general tax dollar money, we have given up in the general money to the park. And that ranged from $20,000 to like $35,000 a year. So with the current.
How much of that 20 to 30 comes from the community center?
That's nothing, that's just the general budget. It's departmentalized, so it's not, it's part of the general, because there are, at this point, 6 different departments. So the last 4 or 5 years, you guys have done that. So you've lowered the tax rate in the general and given the park extra money. But with the budget the way it is, if this one right now, and now you're gonna take out the town manager, so you'll have a positive of 23,000. So then you can at least talk to the Department of Local Government and Finance to balance your budget. You could give the park $23,000 back, because I think when we met with Zach, it was like 45 or 44,000. I don't remember the numbers exactly.
That number was inflated because 10,000 was added to the insurance, so that amount.
Right, but I told you that too. But we did what we were asked by the board when Jane and I met. We did what the board asked when it came to the insurance. So that even if it's inflated, then that money is still going to be there. Just like you said, you can ask at the end of the year. But what I'm saying is that 23,000 that gives a positive in the general can be moved, and that tax rate changed a little bit to help fund the park board as it has in the past, but it's not going to be the 35,000 I think that we did last year, but it is better.
Whoa. So let's back up. Okay, before I was hired, the park board came to the table with the town council and discussed the money that would be needed to hire me and to provide me the resources that I need to do my job. So you're saying that basically we would cut $12,000 out of my park?
No, what I'm saying is because we're doing family insurance, that changes the whole dynamics of the general budget. Because those have to be funded, and that's tax dollar money. That's the only way that funds the general. We don't have, you know, what do I want to say, league fees or tournament fees. They get whatever comes in on the tax dollars, and I think there's a few monies that come in. We get the building permits, but that total amount number, which I don't have it in front of me, was 900 and some thousand. And so that's when it showed that the general was going to have a shortfall of the budget. And that's what Jane presented to let those guys decide what they wanted to do. But the thing of it is, in the past, we didn't have a shortfall in our budget. But there wasn't. We made it to where it worked out that the extra money went to the park. But that isn't the case this time, because there isn't the extra fund. But if we get rid of the town manager, there's $23,000 to have a balanced budget.
So I just want to be clear though, you are asking for a budget cut, correct? Yes or no?
What I'm saying is.
No, I don't want, or dancing around circles.
I'm not dancing around nothing. We only have so much money to spend.
Okay,
The thing of it is.
We
yes,
ran $180,000
I second the motion
surplus
on
in
the floor.
2021.
yes, second the motion. Seth seconded the
We
motion.
ran an $80,000 surplus last year, so, and that's in Gateway, so if those numbers aren't right, you
Yes,
put those in.
I know that, but these are long-term funds. If you were buying a truck this year and it was in that budget that inflated it, it wouldn't be there the next year. So Gateway, the DLGS is okay with that.
Kelly, we have a first and second on
Okay,
the
well,
floor right
I'm
now.
just answering him.
So, we have a first, to remove the town manager and a second to remove the town manager from the budget. Any other discussion on that? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Let it be known, it passes 5-0 to remove the town manager from the budget.
John, go.
John?
I've got a question. I don't know this answer, but I'm asking from the park's perspective. What else in this town generates money? Not government money, not grants, but what generates money?
Nothing. The park is where we need and we have more involvement in this town other than in water and crime.
I mean,
But
tax-
more involvement in this
taxes.
town by humans.
Raise taxes.
Yeah, taxes, by humans in the park.
And he's doing an amazing job, and we have to find a way, we can't cut from him, because we can't do anything if we keep cutting.
Did we appropriate the funds for the needed?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, we did.
We did half of it from seeded and then half of it from TIF A and C.
We appropriated some money for him coming up with a grant for some.
I will offer a point of contention though, that is not how this should operate. That should be on top of, okay? Because we've been fixing things that have not been addressed for 25 years.
Right.
And so to take out of my operating budget and say, oh, well, we're giving you money for a big project, doesn't fit with me, because in 5 years, I'm still gonna need that money that was taken from me.
Correct.
Wait, I thought it was coming from the amusement to.
Part of it's half.
No, what I'm
Half
saying
of it is,
is,
Seth.
that's for a project, that's not for operating
Seed
money
it.
that I need to fix bridges.
That's what I was talking about.
250,000 from
Okay,
seeded.
it's not from your budget either, that's.
No, but what I'm saying is that Kelly is saying that we need to reduce the amount that the general fund subsidizes the park, and that comes out of my operating budget.
Correct.
I don't understand how it gets any simpler than that. She can call it what she wants, but that's what she's saying.
It's $12,000 out of our operational budget. That's.
Which is absolutely silly to me,
But
because
you're
we've been
operating
running
it.
almost 6 years surpluses for the last
Right,
decade.
but we've been giving you money. every
Nobody's
year.
taking.
That's the thing.
Okay.
You haven't been living.
Nobody's taking the money, so it doesn't matter. We're budgeted.
No, that's what she is.
No, that's right, we're budgeted, we know what our budget is,
Okay,
We're
that's all I
done.
need to know.
yep. The only thing we did was, we moved a position that put us over.
She is saying that the general fund is not going to be able to cover what it used to cover, is what she's trying to say. And I don't agree with that, because we run a huge surplus, and I think that leave it up to the DLGF to make that decision.
Well, that's why you have to look at the percentage.
I was in there for 12 years, we did make money. The building permits make money for the general.
Okay,
We have, let's proceed on with the meeting.
Okay, I actually need to do the public
Oh,
reading
yeah, that's
of the budget.
Read it.
The official, I am gonna have to change the number at the top though for the ordinance because I guess it should be 14 since
No, I think you're good.
I have 12.
I numbered around you.
Okay, that's what concerned
Yeah, he
me.
was 11
Because I
and
chose the
13.
next one, but then
No,
I was
he
like,
11
okay.
and 13.
Yeah.
Okay,
I did have
perfect.
12 and 13 as those solar and wind, but I'll change those after tonight, so.
Okay, so I'm good with the 12?
You're good with
Okay.
12.
So, the first reading of ordinance 2023-12, ordinance of 2024 Town of Santa Claus proposed budget. The estimated civil maximum levy is $1,018,024, and the estimated net assessed value is $184,783,403. The Riverboat Fund, Fund Number 2235, $17,500. General Fund, Fund Number 1101, $935,137. That includes the clerk treasurer, the town manager, the planning zoning, the police, the fire, and the community center at a tax rate of 0.3855. The rainy day fund, number 2236, $75,000. The LRS fund, number 2202, $60,000. The MVH fund, 2201 and 2203, $274,850. The recreation fund, number 2204, $175,252 with a tax rate of 0.0711. The police town marshal special fund, fund number 2510, $3,000. Law continuing education fund, fund number 2228, $1,500. The user deferral program, fund number 2233, $500. The TIF A&C fund, 4445, $530,700. The TIF Industrial Fund, Fund number 4446, $100,000. The Lit Seeded Fund, Fund number 4436, $270,000. The Redevelopment Commission Fund, Fund number 2570, $5,000. The Industrial Development Fund, Fund number 4408, $50,000. The Spencer County Trails Construction Fund, Fund number 2530, $9,250. The total amount for the CUMCAP funds is $555,000. The net assessed value is $215,039,298. The following funds involve the CUMCAP funds. CUMCAP Improvements, Fund number 4401, $10,000. CUMCAP Development Fund, Fund number 4402, $225,000 with a tax rate of 0.0500. CUMCAP Building Fund, Fund number 4424, $75,000 with a tax rate of 0.0167. CUMCAP Fire Fund, Fund number 4425, $245,000 with a tax rate of 0.0186. The total tax rate is 0.5419. A total budget of all funds, excluding the water and wastewater departments, $3,062,689.
I make a motion that we approve the 2023-12 ordinance for the 2024 Town of Santa Claus proposed budget.
First reading.
First reading, thank you.
Second.
First and second. Any other discussion on those numbers? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Let it be known that passes 5-0. The first reading. Second reading will be at the next meeting.
And adoption, yeah.
Minus the town manager.
Add to the next one, Halloween, to the next agenda, I forgot about that.
Oh, Halloween.
Yeah, we need to add that to the next agenda. Sorry, just thought of it for some reason.
Okay.
Jane, you have anything else?
Miscellaneous. Can you go get the vouchers to sign?
Okay. Under miscellaneous, the APC board's been looking for somebody, and we have somebody that we would like to nominate, Randy Bain, to the APC. Randy, appreciate you coming tonight again, and look forward to seeing you next Monday.
Under miscellaneous too, did we get those recommendations to the health department? I forgot to ask you about that.
Jeff today.
Okay, perfect. Okay, vouchers. I have vouchers. Actually, Abigail went to go get them because I forgot to grab them with all the, trying to get boxes out of here for the auditors and everything. So she went to go get them. But I have general vouchers in the amount of $174,021.95.
Make a motion to approve the general voucher in the amount of $174,000, $174,021.95.
Second.
First and second. Any discussion on this? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Let it be known it passes 5-0.
Okay, I have payroll vouchers in the amount of $78,800.52.
Make a motion to approve payroll voucher in the amount of $78,800.52.
Second.
I have a first and second. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Let it be known it passes 5-0. And water, wastewater?
Yep, wastewater vouchers in the amount of $118,031.11.
Make a motion to approve the wastewater voucher in $118,031.11.
Second. I have a first and second. Any other discussion?
Did Brian second?
Yes, Brian
Okay.
did.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Recommend passes 5-0.
Okay. I just need Seth to sign these two.
Yes. There's a text on the bottom. Is there a right of form I can get for that?
I can send you, but that one, I think you got that there. Utility superintendent. At the bottom.
You're safe with us because we've already got our it's called. Okay, you go for it.
Economic development.
Yeah, just breathe it. You're good. You're good.
Well, I tried to say, well, it wasn't
So, you want to have it?
We know. We know. We understand. And when somebody writes
So you just have to sort of
Yeah, no.
I mean, nothing is only to protect you, protect your job. So your job's not going to be jeopardy anyway. So, I mean, you don't have anything to worry about, because you're still going to have to use your time that you've accrued, anyway. So, really, that doesn't make a difference if in the lease just really.
Still in our SOPs that he can do, like, say chief.
What's going on there?
I don't know about that, but I'll, yeah, I'm not sure about that.
Jane,
I'll look at it.
question about this stack. Is there more than one to sign?
Is that the only one that gets signed, or does this here?
Oh, no, just the top one.
Okay, that's what we need. Yeah, as soon as we
All this commotion, don't.
I know.
Who made it, Ryan?
I'll second it.
Second to adjourn.
Time 7:19.
I know. You told me you were there.
Yep. See you.